And welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. It's Steve. I'm here with Mike.
Hey. It's time for co-op chat and focusing on Kickstarters and crowdfunding games again. Excited to
Yeah,
be here.
it's the end of the month. Time to do the recap of our thoughts and things we looked at, all that fun stuff. So we've got a bunch of things planned to talk about. But of course, if you're watching live, you have topics you want to cover, campaigns you want to talk about specifically. Just let us know. We'll do it.
Yeah, and good to see Paul in the chat already, and Snow, Hannah, good to see you both.
Welcome. Okay, let's dive into first the upcoming games. So we'll talk about those games the next week, actually next 2 weeks. I'll explain that in a second, and then we'll jump into over the past month the games we've some of us have played, so we just listened a lot more and we provide more detail on them. So, okay,
And Steve, I think you got the first big one, right?
yeah, let's talk about
Fus
Sky.
Roda.
Yes, Fushroda. So this is Elder Scrolls Skyrim. It's made by Modifius, which I could not say on the interview we did last time because it was like
Oh no!
it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for me. So it's like, oh, how does words work? So
The first several times I played games from them, I thought it was Mophidius. It just seemed to make more sense to me.
Modifius,
It's like totally
yeah.
reversed the consonants there.
But yeah, this is Skyrim. It is a 1 to 4 player cooperative open world open world campaign game, and yeah, so it's like big one might deliver. Okay, so that's a really good point. I do want to bring this up. I'll give you a little more description of the game, but one thing I do want to mention is looking at their past campaigns. There's quite a few of campaigns that are still not quite fulfilled for them, like 3 or 4 campaigns. So
Hmm.
be aware of that if you're looking at back in this one. So this FYI.
Yeah, I mean, I've on the other side of that, I've played several games from them, like I think they did both the Fallout miniatures game and the Elder Scrolls miniatures game,
Mhm.
like tactical miniatures games, and those have lots of things in the line, no sign of slowing down. So they definitely have the ability to deliver some games. Maybe just not all of them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, exactly.
they're
So
not the most confident, inspiring thing.
yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, who knows? Like, it might be great, might come out fast, it might wait a while. I don't know. But yeah, this one is coming to GameFound later this week.
And you played it, Steve, right? Just a little bit.
I did play a little bit. Yep, I did an interview last week with the team, and I did try a few rounds of it. And I will be doing a playthrough next week of this one as well, so you guys can check out
And
what
did
that is.
you compared it a little bit to Fantasy Flight's Fallout, right? Like kind of heavily
Yeah,
quest
it
focused.
is. Yeah, kind of the premise of this is if well, first of all, it's based on the video game, right? An open world RPG adventure game. And this
I've never
one,
heard of this Skyrim. What is
what is this game you speak of? So, um, oh yeah, so yeah, this is not the mini skirmish game, though. The board is set up so you can bring your miniatures from the skirmish game into here. Just Snow mentioned that comment.
Yeah, I was wondering. They're such a minis heavy company. I was wondering if they'd find some way to shoehorn that in, and yes,
Yep,
they did.
they did. But yeah, so the basic premise is you've got the whole world map. You can move around it. Lots of different points to go to. But you'll be having different quests. A quest might say like, "This is card 171. Go to Winterhold, and you might need to go and I don't know, kill a bat in the cave or something, right?" And once you go do that, you might go to card 784 or whatever. But it's all skill based checks. You're rolling dice with a lot of mitigation you can do in it, where you add it's mitigation in the form of adding more dice to your roll. But as long as you have resources, you can keep doing it until. So it's one of those games where it's like, oh yeah, I don't mind failing this one, I don't mind succeeding this one. But the interesting thing about it is each round you're going to be adding threat counters on quests. And once a quest has the maximum of threat counters it can hold, it goes away. And
Hmm.
so while you're playing this game, you're not going to see everything. There are quests you're going to just pick up just as a buffer, just so you can keep your main quest active or whatever one you're really interested in going. And so even if you would to play through the whole campaign, you can go back and choose different options, and each option's got different paths for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I really like these kind of branching quest based, like card based things. We've designed 2 games that have it, and it'd be interesting to go back and see what the first one was. Like I remember the biggest one that jumps out to me was Arkham Horror Third Edition. Did this in a really cool way,
mm-hmm.
like several years back. But I imagine there were some games that had something similar before that. where like card 1 leads you to card 3, leads you to card 5, and that like kind of is how you progress along. And then Bloodborne has the same thing too. So
Yep.
definitely a system I think is cool, and excited to see how they do it here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's why I mentioned the Fantasy Flight Fallout version has a lot of those cards with branches,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Seventh Continent too, right? Does that?
Yeah, well, Seventh Continent is a little bit different because like everything is cards and
True.
it's not as directed. I think these ones are very much more of like a linear or branching path of specific cards and like do this next. Seventh Continent, for better or worse, builds itself on the idea that you have no idea what the heck to do.
That's true. That's true.
You just gotta hope and pray as you slowly starve to death that you're going the right way.
Yeah, exactly. This one is very much directed. So, but yeah, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim is coming out later this week. So, okay. Moving on to since we talked about one miniature game that became a board game, let's talk about a second miniature game that became a board game. Apparently, we got 2 of them this week. So that is Monster Apocalypse.
Monster Apocalypse.
Yeah. So what is this game about? Honestly, just giant monsters battling in the city. I mean, what more do you want, right?
Yeah, and the system has been out for a long time with different iterations and different changes, but. For the previous versions that I played, at least, you have like a certain number of actions. You would take a turn for like kind of your wimpy dudes, like your army, like soldiers and tanks that are actually like holding objectives and getting you more energy. And then you take turns for the monsters, which of course is what we're all here for, and heavily based on kaiju films and that whole like genre. So yeah, I hope this is fun, and the fact that they're going out of the gate with co-op in the core game super excites me because this is the kind of game like I'm sure you're in the exact same place, Steve. If our kids can play this with us, heck yeah. Just throwing enemies into buildings and smashing them. Like nothing sounds more fun than that.
Yeah, I looked at some of the rules they have in that, and they have all that stuff in there, which is awesome. And like, I mean, come on, for kids, like, hey, do you want to play this giant monster wrecking a city? I'm like, of course, right? I mean, the kid in us jumps at that too, of course, right?
Yeah, you had me a giant monster. By the way, to look at the chat, Dan, a couple things were brought up for Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
The concern that these games don't always stick the landing for campaign well. Do you know if Skyrim's going to be like one-off, Steve, or does it link together?
Kind of. So there are a number of chapter points, I would say, in the game. And so when you start a chapter, you kind of keep the same party in that chapter. You of course can like say, oh, I've got this character. You want to play as that character? We'll do this one quest together, whatever it is. But I don't think it lends the greatest that way. But after each chapter, you can totally change the party into whatever you want. So it's like short campaigns as opposed to having to commit to the whole thing.
Sure. And then the other camp. This is definitely a big concern for me with cooperative adventure games. I don't know if any of them have perfectly solved this for me. And that's that if you have different quests and you're splitting up, often it kind of becomes like we're each doing our own thing in a totally separate corner of the world. Most of them have zero mechanics if you're not next to each other or on the same space to like interact in any way. So it just kind of becomes like a question of I'll do this while you do that, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, curious to see how they handle that, like how the co-op actually lives and breathes in that.
Yeah, I had a little taste of that, but I want to play the game more before I comment more on that. But yeah, it's definitely got options of doing that for Skyrim for sure. But yeah, Dan's mentioned
wait, Monster Apocalypse!
Yeah, Monster Apocalypse, the all-in price with buildings. Yeah, that's gonna be.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Ouch.
I'm sure
That's gonna hurt.
And this is Mythic is teaming up with the original publisher, right?
That's correct. Privateer Press, I believe, was original, and then it's Mythic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And both of them are totally miniatures companies, so I expect a lot of miniatures and high all-in pledges. Based on something like Solomon Kane recently.
Yeah, Solomon Kane had some miniatures in too, right? Remember?
Oh, it had a second box with like 150 miniatures or something.
Of course
and they were like, it was a fun game, but when I had to track down 15 village miniatures, that could have easily been tokens, so I could put them all like in the tavern for 30 minutes. Yeah, that was not I liked a lot about that game. Tracking down all the miniatures was not my favorite part.
Yeah, Reichbus was the same way, just like bajillion miniatures on the table. Oh my goodness. You can watch some of my streams of that one and just like, you can see in the corner of the camera, you can see a lot of the miniatures just because I just ran out of room with so many minis. It's crazy. But yeah, the quality miniatures are amazing in those games, so. Cool.
Yeah, now Hannah brings up a concern. Mythic's had some issues with their games in the past and had to do like 2.0 versions. But I would say just 2 data points on that. Solomon Kane, I thought, besides very minor errata, worked very well and was very smooth. And I know they hired more people, so I think that kind of shows. And you liked the Reichbusters changes, right, Steve? You thought they did a good job with that?
Yeah, I kind of wish they took it further, but
Mm.
they sent an errata with all these upgraded cards and everything to all the backers free of charge, and you can tell they're making changes based upon the feedback they're getting. So they said in the past that like, you know what, we really want to change our ways and improve our games we're doing, and judging by the actions they're doing, backing up with their words, I'm at this point tend to believe them. So let's see. I'm excited to see what's coming in the future for them, but yeah.
Yeah, and the other one from them that I got recently is Enchanters. And
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that because that's another game from another company that they now did like an updated version of, just like Monster Apocalypse, and that game is awesome. I mean, the solo co-op has a few issues, but competitive play is amazing. So hopefully that's a sign that they can take somebody else's good design and not mess with it too much. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But anyway, what else we got, Steve? I know we don't want to make this an hour-long show.
We could easily make it hour long for sure. Exactly. All right, moving on. We have a kind of a cooperative a flip and right. So this is
Oh,
Titania Ascending.
huh.
So this one was really hard for me to try to understand what's going on in the game. It sounds like it's kind of two phases. Where the first phase you are working towards trying to get I can't remember the name of it. Trying to get 6 of these special units created. And then after you get them created, you go to a second phase where you are sending them to battle. And by sending the battle, you're like using a unit to fill in different areas. So the goal is to fill different areas and use these special units to can create the end game scenario, to the end game winning condition. So it's like a kind of two phases where I think you even lose in the first phase if you can't get those special units in play. But yeah, the flipping right. I'm not. To be fair, I'm not a fan of rolling rights. Nothing against them. They just don't do anything for me. But
Well, no, I'm not either generally. Like a few that break through that mold are cartographers I enjoy,
mhm.
and the pinball one, Super Skill 4K. Oh my god, the dumb name it has. Yeah, this looks interesting. I'm looking on the BGG page, and it sounds like that first step is cooperative drafting.
Yes.
Like you have like a bunch of people, and you're each picking one. Which I'm actually doing that with my Galaxy Trucker variant that I'm working on right now, my cooperative variant, and I find that a very interesting mechanic because I think there's really good conversation to be had around like a cooperative drafting system. So who knows? Maybe it'll be good.
Yeah. Be cool. To check it out. But those are the only 3 cooperative Kickstarters we're looking at. Kickstarter crowdfunding games coming out this
Oh
week.
wait, didn't we want to mention Realm of Shadows?
That this week? That was next week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're doing next 2 weeks. Yep. Hey, good morning, Ryan. Thanks for joining. So, but yes, speaking of Mike, mentioned that we are going to do the next week as well. And normally I would save that for next week's co-op chat, but guess what? We're not having next week's co-op chat because next week is Extra Life. So
Yep,
we'll be busy doing
we'll
that
be a
one.
little busy.
We'll be exactly a little busy. So let's cover the next week one. So yeah, let's get to the one you mentioned, which was this one, Realm of Shadows.
Yes. So I'm actually in the middle of making videos. This is 3 solo only games. They're all pretty light. They're all pretty quick. I don't think any of them would take more than 30 minutes to play once you know them. One of them is sort of Palm Islandish, and that's the gimmick is that you can play it all in your hand. And that one, you're kind of fighting monsters to get to a boss. The other one is kind of like a dungeon crawl in theme, and it's got hand of action cards. You're trying to basically each fight you're going through a line of monsters, and each fight with monster requires you to like deal with 3 different resources, and your hand can kind of go with any of them, so that's pretty fun. And then the last one is very similar. I think they even said they were inspired by oh, my mic's getting noisy. Oh, you know why? I don't have the right mic plugged in. I'm sorry, everybody. um, is that any better, Steve? Can
It
you tell
is.
a difference?
Yep.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry for the bad audio at the beginning. I totally unplugged my mic to edit some video yesterday. But yeah, the third one is, I think, directly inspired by Tiny Epic Defenders. So you're trying to manage enemies that are popping up all around like your town. And that one's really fun too. So far I'm enjoying all 3 of them.
Cool.
Probably the one that's in your hand the least, but it's still okay. So we'll have a video for that one in 2 weeks. But yeah, I like little solo games. This is from the same people that did the Hunted and the Hunted Woad Ridge. So they're clearly focused on solo, and it's fun.
Very cool. The other one coming next week is Vampire Hunters prequel, Ancient Blood.
Hmm.
So they did, I think it was 2018 is the original game of this. So this one is similar setting, but now I guess in the storyline, like obviously prequel beforehand. So you've got new vampire hunters and cooperative experience where you're hunting down different, well, of course, vampires, right? And it's got cool stuff in it where like you can like remove the break open windows, whatever, or get sunlight coming through the windows to attack the vampires, and all sorts of fun little thematic integrations like that. But it is a campaign game, so
All
cool.
right, yeah.
And that is going to cover all of the thing. Oh yeah, all of the news. So let me, since I mentioned it earlier, we do have extra life too. So I'm going to tell real quick. We do have that. This is our second year doing it. So currently, as of this recording, heading towards 1,000 is our goal, up to 650. So if you guys want to help out, you guys are able to. We've got a link in the description below. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
gonna
at
be
$1,000, apparently, I'm going to do a montage of me trying to lift the trove chest, a la the montage of Street Masters for that review.
yes.
So I mean, everyone wants to see that. Come on, you gotta, we gotta make it happen together.
Exactly. But yeah, so this is going on. That's what November 6th is. So up until November 6th, and I'm going to do a video this weekend to share more details. But basically, that day we're going to have the One Stop Co-op Shop crew, and we're going to stream not the whole day, but a good chunk of the day. Almost continuously, various games throughout the day, and we have fun ways of like impacting the game through some donations. So that's gonna be next Saturday. So that's why we're not doing co-op chat next Saturday. So because we got enough streaming going on. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, so no one to see you bust your spine in the montage, which
it might happen. Well, oh my gosh, I've not. I don't think I literally like put the trove chest empty on a shelf, shoved all the drawers that actually have stuff in it. I've never moved it since then, so I have no idea how heavy that thing is.
Oh, that thing is a beast. It's a beast.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. Okay. So that is all the previews. Let's move on to the past Kickstarters and stuff. So, okay. The first one I pulled up, let's talk about this one. Fractal. It was a 4X sci-fi experience. So I think, Mike, you probably know quite a bit about this one.
Yeah, I came in kind of late, but I covered the previous game from the company, which was Exodus, Rise of the Corruption. This one is a full 4X. They check off all the X's, and 4X means like kind of a big empire building, like exploration kind of game, like Civilization or Master of Orion. And it was mostly competitive, but they had some solo, and then I think somewhat late in the campaign they added cooperative scenarios. And I didn't get a chance to play any of the cooperative scenarios, although I know they're actively testing them. But I played some of the solo, and yeah, I like this one. It was a little weird because it was so close to Voidfall, the Mind Clash Sci-Fi 4X. But it was fun to compare them. In my video, I did a comparison of those two and Uprising. We sort of have a glut of solo and cooperative 4Xs all of a sudden, which is great. But yeah, this one plays very smooth once you get the rules. They're still like tightening up the language of the rules, so it's a little tough for me. But like once you know them, it plays quickly. And the Automa works great. Like my complaints about the game are I was gonna say my complaints were about variety. Like they only had a few technology cards, but they already addressed that and added like twice as many. So now there will be variety in the technology cards. So I don't know if I have that many complaints anymore. But yeah, the Automa runs really smoothly, is really challenging. And it's kind of cool that you can, besides the cooperative scenarios, you can just play the game cooperatively pretty easily just by throwing a few extra Automa, or you could have like one hard mode Automa against like 2 players, I imagine. So, yeah, I think this one is exciting to keep looking into. I think the campaign did just close, but I imagine they'll have some kind of late backing option. They usually do, right?
Think so. Yes, it looks like it closed. So. But yeah, DM's always an option, of course. Pledge manager, yep. And Snow was mentioning, I think this one's actually lighter than Voidfall. Still not light, but lighter, which I think
yes.
I've heard from others.
Yeah, and Voidfall, I mean, that one flowed smoothly for me too, but Fractal flowed smoothly for me after like half a play. Voidfall, I was probably 3 plays in before I really felt like I had it down, which is not a indictment of it. I think Voidfall is a fantastic game. Yeah, I mean, at the end of my video, I compared them both. And I didn't say one was better than the other. They have strengths and weaknesses. Like I personally find some swinginess in Fractal's combat, but I also think it's more exciting. Whereas Voidfall's combat is very just kind of quick, no randomness at all, quick resolution, which is also fine. Some players don't want any randomness in their combat, and that's good too.
Very deterministic. Yep. Snow mentioned, is it more expensive in the Pledge Manager, or was it Voidfall that was more expensive?
Those are good questions.
I remember one of them was. I don't remember which one.
Snow, you can look it up for us if you want.
I don't. I don't recall.
Let us know.
Just got a stump. Sorry. Okay, that is Fractal. Let's see. Let's move on. I'll just go randomly here. There's another one. Paint the Roses.
Oh, Paint the Roses. Yeah, I think I might have sang this one's praises like early on the last co-op chat. This is a cooperative deduction game, so think Hanabi, if you've played Hanabi or games of that like. You are the painting people in the Queen of Hearts' garden from Alice in Wonderland, painting the roses and hoping not to get your heads chopped off. And yeah, this you're laying down a tile every turn, and each player has their own individual like rule card. And no matter who lays down the tile, every player puts a number of clue cubes on that tile based on their own clue card. So you are constantly involved. There is zero downtime in this game. And then whoever's turn it is, no matter whose turn it is, everyone can try to guess other people's clue cards. You just can't talk about your own. So constant involvement. And they have an expansion that adds a lot of like options. But I'll be 100% honest, and I've said this in our Discord too. You don't need the expansion. And I strongly, strongly disagree. I think it was Board Game Co. I think he said that like you need the expansion. No, you don't, man. I played the game like 20, 30 times with the base game. Do you need the expansion for Hanabi? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
It is a consistently fun, and it is very challenging, especially when you start using the harder pattern cards. Yeah, I mean, I use the expansion, but it's way more complicated. I think you would never use the expansion except with gamers, like playing more casually, which this game is also great for. You can totally get away with the base game, but highest recommendation. This one really surprised me. Now I do like hidden deduction games, and I like cooperative deduction games, so I guess it's kind of in my wheelhouse. But they have a TTS mod. It's still on Kickstarter right now, so I would definitely check it out. Oh, and Snow did. Thanks, Snow. She said she found it. Fractal will be more expensive in the Pledge Manager. Fractal.
Yeah, Paint the Roses is. I really enjoyed this one too. This was a super fun game. I think when you described it as Hanabi, I think it's an apt like comparison without being like this is exactly like Hanabi. Obviously, it's not, but it's like that style, that type of game. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. My only hesitation around this one is a two-player experience, right? Because you're not allowed to talk about your card in a two-player experience. It's really only the other person who's guessing, and so there's generally a good amount of silence between two players, right? In that scenario, that might not be everyone's cup of tea. And that's just setup.
Yeah, well, that's not my experience either. I played this a ton two-player because they're guessing your card and you're guessing their card. Correct. So you're both kind of but you're right. There's no.
You just got to be careful about what you say, right? Because you accidentally give more clues by things you say, right?
Sure. Same thing. No, I mean, I never had that problem either. But I think your point that you're not actually talking to each other, you're both kind of musing simultaneously,
right?
But you're allowed to do that. Like I can be like, oh man, it could be this or this, and that lets the other person know, oh, okay, if they didn't get it this time, my next play will be this, and that's not against the rules at all. So you're right. It is an odd conversational experience for two-player, but it works fabulously. I played it with my 9-year-old son over and over again. It was the best. I mean, I can't get over how much fun it is.
Yes, no, and talk to yourself
exactly,
which is a good way of saying it. Yep. But it's you're not talking out strategy to be a quiet game, which is true. But like that has more to do about like the people you're playing than the game itself. Like the game itself is fantastic. I agree with Mike on this whole thing, right? And
another comparison, if you want to get a feel for like the conversation or lack of conversation we're talking about, is if you've played Codenames Duet 2-player, like not a team on each side, but just an individual on each side.
Yep.
I find those things fun. I like to sit there tensely as they work through their logic and be like, that's not at all what I meant. No, don't pick that one. Like I find that great. But I guess if you like want specifically to have co-op where you talk to each other and like you're actively considering things together, yeah, you're not going to get it here in 2-player. In
Correct.
3+ you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. 3+ is not a problem whatsoever. The other thing I liked about this one is I feel like this one is super like new gamer friendly. Like it's
Yes.
so easy to explain, and it's so easy. Like the rule wise, it's hard to wrap your head around like strategy and like how this is going to work. What does it mean when I put this down? But yeah, it's great. Definitely recommend this one.
Yeah. No, I mean that's one of my favorite things. Like the level of strategy can keep on going up, and the level of like thought you can put in once you're all experienced can keep going up. Because like my 6-year-old was playing it, and he was just like, okay, I have a red, and that was all he could think of, and that was like the most he could do. You know what I mean? But then eventually you can start considering like the negative space, like, oh, they could have gone there and they could have gone there. And if you have confidence that the other player is experienced enough too and is thinking in the same level that you are, then you can like really go down this rabbit hole of fun, logical puzzling, and it's just great.
Yeah, so that is Paint the Roses. So definitely big recommends from both of us. So if you haven't backed it, maybe look at the pledge manager when it comes out later. So cool. Let's move on to another game we're going to talk about. This one, I don't think, unfortunately, neither of us got a chance to play, I assume, right? You didn't play Mythwind, did you, Mike?
No, Jason covered that one for us.
But this one looks really cool. I like, asymmetry cooperative game and this like non-combat focus, open world thing. It sounds really fun. Where you're trying to develop this world and build it up together. You have different roles, like being a farmer and a carpenter and stuff. It's like very, very interesting. So, but we want to mention that one, even though we haven't quite. Neither of us have had the opportunity to play it yet. So,
yeah, and the one potentially cool aspect of it, or potentially concerning, I think it depends on your taste, is the kind of non-ending aspect. And we've seen this a lot recently. I don't think this has been a very normal thing, but now between Lands of Galzir had that, where you just kind of play and they sort of have a main storyline, but you can just keep on going. Earthborn Rangers had that to an extent. And this one does too. Like, think of Stardew Valley, not the board game Stardew Valley, but actual Stardew Valley.
Right.
Like that one. Like, I think technically the game ends after a certain number of years in Stardew Valley when like your grandfather shows up, but it doesn't matter. You can just keep on building your farm up forever. So if you're into that, if you're into just kind of exploring these different asymmetric roles, Mythwind could be cool.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see.
Snow says she's not too interested in Mythwind, by the way, because she's not sure she likes all the characters, which is it's a tough thing. Like that was true of Merchant's Cove too. Like some of those roles I just didn't find that interesting.
Yeah.
Which immediately, I guess, lowers the value judgment of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully it's like set up so that other people that don't align to your same likes and dislikes would enjoy those roles. It's not like hopefully it's not a role that no one likes playing, right? Because that's not fun for anybody, right? But
well, that also depends on whether you're doing solo or co-op. Because if you have co-op, you're more likely to have tastes align differently with the group. Kind of like in a dungeon crawler, like, yep. if you're playing solo dungeon crawl and all you like is support roles, Steve, then nothing healer forever.
Yep.
Then like it might not be as interesting as if you have one player who likes being a tank and one player who likes being a rogue and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Cool. That is Mythwind. Let's keep going. Oh, this one you were very hot on. Sandutu, right?
Yeah, Sandutu. This is a tactical, like, skirmish battling game on a hex grid. Ancient Japan themed, so samurai, ninja. You kind of know what to expect with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it has solo and also cooperative. And again, like Fractal, there are things about this game I'm not 100% sure about, and I still need to see developed more, and they're, like, making lots of cool stuff. But I have no complaints about the automa. It works great. It's this distance-based system. So it'll be like if the closest enemy is 1 to 2 hexes away, do this. If they're 3 or more hexes away, do that. And it works surprisingly well. Now, this is a game very heavily based on tactical movement. Mm-hmm. Like your exact hex facing matters, like for whether your attacks land or not. You can get around people and be behind them. and it feels cool. Like, it feels like these intense samurai fights. I compared it in my video to Bushido Blades on the old PlayStation, for those who played that. Like, these very fast, like, deadly fights, people dying very quickly. Steve, you might like it because it's got deck construction. So you can build very fast fighters. You can build slower fighters with strong attacks. You can build very defensive fighters. That part doesn't interest me as much. But after I did my play, they announced that every fighter is going to have a bunch of totally unique cards, like 30 unique cards, I think, per fighter or something like that. So I like that because it feels like I can just take the starting deck and it'll be unique enough that I don't need to do any construction. So I think they did a pretty good job there, it seems, hitting both of those extremes. So yeah, for solo and co-op, I'm really excited about this one. And it's the one thing I'll say that's a concern potentially for some people is that it is like you each pick a card and then reveal it. So your great plan might be totally undone by the enemies.
Yep.
I'm very used to that and love that mechanic from Exceed and BattleCon, the level 99 fighting games that do the same thing. But I know a lot of people are not going to want to deal with it. It can feel random. I think it's actually way less random than you think it is, because you can, eventually you can learn what's in their deck. You can anticipate what they might do. But it's in the end, it still kind of becomes a rock, paper, scissors fight. And that's not gonna be good for some people.
Yeah, I read the rule book on this one, and that got me. That jumped at me as well. Where I played, I didn't play Exceed or the other ones. I played Yomi, which is honestly another version of those games too, which has the same.
It's another one where you pick your card and reveal. Yep,
exactly. Like who trumped the other to do their effects, right, and stuff like that. But so I definitely got that vibe from this one, and I actually really liked how blocking worked in this one, where it wasn't just like I play this card to block damage, but like you have to anticipate, like, what type of attack and where your opponent's coming from to do the block, right? Because you need to hit within a specific range of values, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah, and something I'll mention, they have a solo campaign. I didn't get to play that, but in the one-off official solo mode, you're supposed to do one of your guys versus two of theirs, which is, first of all, super hard because it's just hard to stay alive. But I love how the tactical puzzle gets more interesting because you can, and this is like what I would do in a real fight, I imagine. Not that I've ever been in a real fight, hopefully, with multiple people. But like you try to get them in each other's way, right? You try to circle around so that like one of them's trying to run through the other guy and knocking into him, which will stun them both. So yeah, I think it's got some like really, really fun stuff going on there. And it seems very free form for co-op. Like I imagine you could have like two of you versus three of them without too much trouble because the AI decks work so smoothly. So yeah. I'm really excited about this one, even more than I was when I first previewed it because they keep on saying stuff that addresses the concerns I had initially.
Yeah, this one seems like one of those, I like to use word skirmish games where, like, you know what, I can quickly grab some characters, grab some AIs, and we just have a quick battle, right? And it could be 1 versus 1, two AI versus one character, one player, or however you want to set up, right? And whatever landscape you want can construct that quickly. Cool. Sandutu. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, and Ryan mentioned Guards of Atlantis. I don't know what that is, Ryan, so I can't compare it. Sorry. Never heard of that.
Yep. Let's move on to... I know one we've both played because we played it together. This one is Keep the Heroes Out. Talk about that one. So this is a fully cooperative, kind of flip on the dungeon crawling theme. Where instead
you are defending against the heroes, right?
Exactly. So being the heroes, you are the monsters trying to stop the evil heroes from taking a loot. So, yeah, this one has high asymmetry with the different characters you have in there. They all have interesting twists to how they play for sure, and it's got a slight deck building slant to it as well. You can actually put it's not a ton of deck building where you're like totally changing your cards structure out. But you can do a little bit with that too. I know Snow says back in that one. Yeah, we've talked about this one quite a bit on our Discord channel. So
yeah, this one that I am still. I think I'm in for a buck right now. I'm very unsure about this one because I played it a bunch now, Steve. Like way more than when we had just played the first time, and I love so many parts of it. Like it's right in my wheelhouse for so many bits, and then some parts I just hate, especially the swinginess. I don't know if I told you this, Steve. I started doing a variant where I took out the treasure chests that have the heroes activate again.
Yep.
Which is how I lose like every game that I lose.
Yep.
And And it's still tough. It didn't mess with the balance that much because I put in the other treasure chests and it still like made the game challenging.
Yep.
But man, I found it 1,000 times more engaging and fun with that variance.
Good.
So
I'm glad.
I felt very much like a Steve at that moment.
Yeah, those.
But yeah, like really, that one tinker was enough because basically, you lose the game when the heroes get to like your main treasure room. When too many heroes get to your main treasure room, and some of the treasure chests the heroes get will have them cascade into other rooms. And if you get a couple of those in a row, you can lose in a way that is almost impossible to predict or prevent. I mean, you can leave guys there, but if you don't know where that randomly determined like set of treasure chests is going to be, you can't do anything about it. So that's the only part that I really didn't like. But no, I think the gameplay is great. So I think I might go in on this with the intention to house rule it, which I don't know if I've ever done that before. Usually I'm so annoyed at games like that force me to house rule right out the gate that I don't want to back them. But I like the other stuff about this one so much, I might break my own rules and do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with you. I had horrible chains, which would like just, oh wow, I just lost type situations. But then I started playing a little bit more. I was able to recognize that potential, and then like actively try to break those chains from happening. Because the problem is, if it's right next to the main treasure room, then just gotta be aware of that. But if it's far away and they chain a bunch of times to the treasure room, trying to break one link in that chain, that could help a lot.
Yeah. Oh, the other warning about this one, just for those who didn't already watch our video on it, is maybe you disagree, Steve, but I would not recommend this for like 4-player and probably not for 3-player either. Lots of downtime, and
Yes.
the board state changes completely by the time your turn comes back around. And you don't even they wanted to keep the playtime the same, which I fully respect, but it means that like at 4-player you're going to get very few actual turns before the game is over.
Yeah, comparatively, definitely. Yep, I think 1 to 2 players is excellent for this one. Also, with our playthrough we did, because the designer watched it and commented, he's going to make some notes that don't play that one start out of the gate, which is my mistake. So,
sure. Yeah, that was a especially challenging one, and in a way more swingy because more guys came out with those wizards. So
exactly.
Yes, I agree with that.
Exactly.
By the way, I was looking at the comments. Paul pointed out the King of Average was not a fan of Sandutu. I found that a very problematic video, but we don't have to get into that too much. Like he was complaining about the fact that the other reviewer had sent a rule book and the rule book had like stains on it. I don't know. It seemed like a very odd thing to mention when you're discussing like whether a game is going to be good for like players. But that's okay. And he really didn't like the randomness. He felt like it was totally random. Again, I'm very curious what his background is with these games. Because I've played Yomi, I played Exceed, I played BattleCon, I played every game I can think of that has this kind of mechanic in all these fighting games.
Right.
And so, maybe that means that I'm biased in the other way. Maybe I like these games and I'm not criticizing Senjutsu as much as I should, but I do not find it problematic at all. So, yep, just different opinions. Doesn't mean that he's wrong and I'm right. Just, I think he's wrong to go after somebody for their rule book coloring or whatever, but besides that, it's different opinions on games.
That's fair. That's fair. Cool. Okay, let's move on to. Got 2 more games to talk about.
Yeah, we got a big one, I know.
Oh, we did a big one?
Sure.
Okay, we did a big one. I'm assuming the big one's Icy and Guard. That's one you're mentioning, right?
Oh, no?
Surprise! No, I was just going to talk about it real briefly. Just because we've been doing so much on both channels right now. Just got done my last planned playthrough earlier this week. This one is way past and back in the day, but I just want to mention that if you're looking for the Pledge Manager, go check it out because this one's awesome. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one. So, but yeah, big old open world narrative campaign. What's the other big one you talk about? I got one more I was going to talk about.
Too many bones, dude.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I don't have that on my list. I apologize.
Yeah, the $2.5 million, I think.
Yeah, so let me grab that one while you start talking about it because I totally mentioned it. And I totally forgot to grab the thing. So 1 second.
Yeah, so Too Many Bones is on GameFound this time. They've been on Kickstarter in the past, and yeah, they're just about to $2.5 million. This is Too Many Bones Unbreakable. It sounds like it is the final release, I believe, in the Too Many Bones set. This is from Chip Theory Games. This is a adventure combat game, I guess I would call it, if you're not familiar with it, for 1 to 4 players co-op. And this is one of my favorites. I mean, if you've tracked the if you've tracked the odyssey of Mike's opinions, I did not like Too Many Bones very much when I first played it, but then I grew to absolutely love it. This is not a cheap one. They do have some nice pledge levels that kind of get you in, and they have an all gameplay level that is $675, cheap. Or if you want a trove chest and all the like non-game related stuff, only $1,100. Hey, you can
Only
just take
1100.
a
It's
second
okay.
mortgage out only. But that being said, the main focus is the Unbreakable expansion. If you know Too Many Bones, this is very similar to Undertow in that it's a standalone. It has 2 new characters, so you can only play 1 to 2 player if you just buy this. It's got, I think, 4 new enemies called Tyrants, and it's got a whole new type of battle map, which is like this lava battle map where lava will pop up and kind of change the feeling of the battlefield. So yeah, I'm definitely going in for the new content. I already own everything, including a trove chest, which again I might lift if you can help us get to $1,000 on Extra Life, and it's for a good cause, everybody. There we go. The segue. But
I
yeah,
was laughing at Dan's comment here. Too Many Bones should be called "If you haven't been in since the beginning, don't bother or take out a loan." Right.
Well, it's funny you say that, Dan, because we're having a lot of Discord conversations. We have a Too Many Bones channel in there about like where to start. And I do think this game is, if you just get the core game, like literally nothing else except the core game, which is over $100, but so many big adventure games are these days.
Yeah.
You get a ton of bosses. You get a ton of gear locks. It's fun to play the exact same gear lock and boss over and over again. I've played like probably, I don't know, Boomer versus Nam 5 or 10 times by itself. So I think this is definitely one where FOMO and completionism is likely to hit you, but I don't think it needs to. I think this is a game that you can buy the base game and be happy for years with just that. It doesn't mean you have to pay $600 or $1,000 for it. So just to put that opinion out there.
Well, I also think this isn't exclusive necessarily as well too, because they normally have the product on their website, I believe, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think maybe I know some of these bundles have a cheaper price,
right?
Right. But I don't think they've ever had anything fully exclusive. They usually have some way to get like even the kind of promos and stuff you can buy later.
Right.
So yeah, no hurry. Don't let them scare you into spending $1,000 and then crying about your regrets afterwards. Make the choice that's right for you.
Exactly. Yeah, I played this. I only got a chance to play this once, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's not something that I personally need to own, but I would definitely play it again. So.
And hey, if you want to see it in action, we're doing a 3-player game tonight on the streaming channel. Peter, Jerry, and I are going to do an Undertow campaign. We don't have, unfortunately, access to Unbreakable. They didn't make that public to reviewers yet. But yeah, if you have never seen Too Many Bones and you want to see what it's all about, come watch us. We'll have a good time. Or we won't, and we'll die horribly. Either way.
Exactly. Cool. Okay. Got one more game to talk about. This one was a really big surprise for me. So, this one is Dutch Resistance. Orange Shall Overcome. This one, how do I explain it? It feels a bit like Maki, a little bit, if you're familiar with that one. It's just like the style of game it is. It is a cooperative pick up and deliver that's set in the World War II. So it is not combat focused at all. You're just working together as a resistance networking team to achieve different objectives. So there's 5 different scenarios, and I believe the plan is to have 10 different characters to pick from. Each character is based off a real person, which is kind of cool. In fact, the designer has his grandmother in the game, which is really cool. And then actually one of the characters is still living, which is also interesting. But yeah, this one is a big surprise, and I say that because a lot of things we bring up frequently on One Stop Co-op Shop, this game actually does really well. Like the one thing is asymmetry. So asymmetric roles definitely in the game. We like having games that aren't collaborative but cooperative, ideally. Meaning that like collaborative mean like we have a shared goal. Cool. I do my thing, you do your thing. We work together to a goal. That's collaborative in my expression of that. But cooperative is where like I'm helping you actively doing something or do something on your turn. And this one, you've got essentially 3 actions on your turn, and the other person has 3 actions on their turn. But you have a shared pool of actions that you can take on anyone's turn. So like while you're taking a turn, like oh yeah, I need to go do this at this point. I'm gonna use one of those actions. Or hey, I need to do what I need to do. I need more than my 3 actions. I need 5 of the actions. Can you spare me 2? And so like you're constantly engaged in the player turn on this. And on the flip side, the enemy turn is actually really, really fast. I was surprised at how fast it was. It is almost no like downtime in this game because of that. Because like every turn you flip over a card and you move some guys around, and then it's back to your turn. It's really like that fast. And so like no downtime, asymmetry, high amounts of cooperation. I really enjoyed this game. I was really surprised. So we're gonna do Bear and I are gonna do another play of this, a different scenario next week. So take a look at that one. But yeah, this one I was really surprised about this one.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see this. I mean, you know me, I'm usually the most about the war games. Although you like the with Maquis and like what is it? The Simon one, World War One.
Oh, Grizzled.
Where you try, yeah, the Grizzled. Like I think there's a sweet spot for you in like these lighter war games, Steve. So
Yeah.
definitely excited to check this one out.
Yeah, it's very different. Like I said, it wasn't sure what to expect of it, but I was really surprised because it just hits a lot of those check boxes for the things we talk about, and I like the resistance theme type games like that. It's not quite stealth game, but it's got stealth vibes to it, right? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Orange Shell Overcome. That is kind of recapping all the games we were going to mention that we were focusing on this past month. So, you guys, if any other questions, feel free. Honestly, come over to our Discord. We're very active over there, talking almost all the time on it. But yeah, that is.
By the way, Steve, can I just say real quick?
Go ahead.
This has been a terrible 2 months for Kickstarters. I have backed far too many. I mean, really, usually I am very light on what I back, and I am in for so many of these. You keep the heroes out. I'm going to back that, thinking I don't like the core design still.
I know.
I'm an idiot.
There's been a lot of good ones to pick from recently. I completely agree with you. I mean, you can't really go wrong with some of the choices out there. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm struggling with too. I'm right now leaning towards I'm going to be backing all in on this orange game, which isn't that expensive. Oh, speaking of which, I wanted to mention earlier, but Sandutu, I was really surprised by the price of that game. It's very reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's why it's. I mean, I'll be honest. I preview these games and I have no idea how much advertising they've done. I have no idea how much community outreach they've done. So I have no idea if the game's going to make 5,000 and not fun or $1 million.
Right.
Sandutu, I did not look at it and be like, oh yeah, this is going to be $1 million game. Sure, that's what I'm covering right now. This video is going to get thousands of views. No, I was like, oh, okay, this random little game, whatever. Okay, here we go. Sandutu, this is pretty fun. I'll tell you my thoughts. And then it's like, yeah, so I think that they picked a good price point for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. So first of all, A. Frank said, I wish the other Zenobia finalist was available. Yeah, I want to check out a lot of the Zenobia finalists. If you know, this is a contest for, I believe, basically to try to find war game designers. If I get this wrong, by the way, please correct me. War game designers that weren't just white men was basically the goal of it. And if you want to hear more about the Zenobia games, Liz Davidson did an entire series of interviews with every single one of the main finalists, and she, I think, was involved in the judging at some point as well.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's a really cool war games with new perspectives, sides we've never seen in conflicts coming soon. Very excited about that. And then, Snow mentioned that and Dan said I'm probably going to be calling all these games that I'm kickstarting. It's possible. Don't judge me. Hey, but by the way,
you meant to say probable.
Yeah. I should mention we're doing something new on the non-streaming channel. This is the first time we're trying it at 10:15. So if you just want to go get a nip of coffee or whatever and come back at 10:15 on the non-streaming channel, not this one. We're doing Shelf Life with live comments. We're doing a premiere, so the video will just be the regular video as always. It'll just be 8 minutes long. It's not a long watch. But I'll be in there live talking to anybody. So if you want to come by and see how much I called, since people mentioned it, I'd love to see some of you on the chat over there.
Yeah, I think that's something that I had to explain this to Kim the other day, what premiere meant, because it's live, but it's not live, right? It's a weird mismatch of the two, right? Where it's it's a recorded video, it's a VOD, but it's launching at a time, and during that time you have live chat, right? Which is kind of cool. So
yeah, it's kind of when people will all watch the same Netflix show at the same time, and it's all be tweeting at the same time. So yeah, exactly. I have no idea how it'll go. If it goes well, we'll do more. If it doesn't go well, then it'll never happen again. This will never be spoken of.
Oh yeah, Barrett. Yeah. Oh, we had so much fun with that. It's so good. I don't know. It's such a weird I feel like the presentation layer of that game makes it seem like it's, I don't know, makes you wonder, right? I feel like we have so many games to pick from. We tend to be very harsh on the presentation layer, but yeah, God, that game is great. A lot of fun.
Well, and I love it. I mean, we have a surplus of choice.
Yeah.
And right now, it's really good choices.
It
Like
is.
I love being able to do a Kickstarter crowdfunding preview and be like, this game is great. Because even if you don't like all the things, like I say, Paint the Roses is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my son, Colin. Hello, Colin.
Dad,
Yes.
can I tell you something?
You can tell me something in a few minutes. We're almost done this video.
No, that's let me tell you something.
What is it, buddy?
Is there any more of those little ships that you told me they stopped making?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Ask me in a minute, Colin. So, yeah, like Paint the Roses. I love this game, but if you don't like limited communication, if you don't like deduction games, it's not going to hit for you. But then go check out Sandutu. If you don't like that, check out Mythwind. If you don't like that, check out the Orange Shell Overcome game. If you don't like that, check out Too Many Bones. Check out Skyrim. Like there are so many great games and so many diverse genres. We're finally getting good solo and cooperative 4X games, which a couple of years ago I would have thought might never come. And I should be fair. Space Empires 4X from GMT has been a solo one, at least. I don't know if they do co-op for years, so I guess I shouldn't say it's the first ones. But yeah, I love being in this like age of gaming. There's so much good stuff.
Absolutely.
Snow said a wild kid appeared. He's not a Pokemon. Get out of here, Snow.
So yeah.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Yeah, I know.
He just had his birthday yesterday, so he's very like worried about. We're gonna go see my dad and get his other presents today.
Oh yeah.
So he's very. That's on his mind.
He's got priorities. Happy birthday to him. So yes, excellent. Cool. Okay. You guys are awesome on chat. I can feel like we could chat for a lot longer here, but I know I want to end this probably now, so give some time and head over to the premiere on the main channel. So go check it out. So
yeah, 10:15. So well, based on your time zone, 10:15. I should just say about 22 minutes from now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
22 minutes from right now is when it'll be premiering.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, yeah, and the next stream, you already mentioned it, but we'll mention again, is Undertow on this channel later tonight. So that's the next one.
Yeah, and then Extra Life, please go donate. It goes to a great. What's the? Is it Children's Hospitals again this year?
Yes,
Steve?
it's always Children's Hospitals.
Oh, it's always okay. I didn't know if they switched it. Yeah, so donate some money, and it doesn't have to be to us. Donate to anybody doing Extra Life that you want to support, because it all goes to support Children's Hospitals. So in the end, that's all we really care about.
It's 100% of the proceeds go to the hospitals too. So One Stop sees.
This is amazing.
It, so
yeah, how many times do you do a charity and all the money goes to the thing? You know, it's like you're not paying for us to like send you a bag and like 20 of the dollars of your stuff goes to pay shipping or whatever. Like yeah, it's just all helping the people that need the help. So
exactly,
especially in the time we're living in, it'd be awesome if all of you can donate again to anybody's Extra Life campaign. If you don't want to see me break my spine with a trove chest, go donate to somebody else.
Exactly.
Because we just want the donations. We just want people to have better healthcare and have more access to it. So
for sure. Yeah, I'll be doing a quick video next week to kind of recap what the schedule is and some more details on that. So because that's
yeah, we got some great games on there. Things I know y'all are going to want to see. We're going to be playing a lot of stuff, and I think almost all of us are getting in on at least one of them, right?
Yep, everyone's doing about team. 2 games, I think.
Awesome.
So, and one that Mike and I have been over the moon with, Valor and Villainy.
Yeah,
we did unlock.
But we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the co-op mode of the other Valor and Villainy that's getting added with the expansion. We haven't played that yet. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any videos on that, so that should be like all new content for you guys. I'm excited to show you guys.
World premiere, baby. World premiere.
Exactly. So, excellent. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Or see you in 20 minutes. Bye.
In 20 minutes, exactly. Bye-bye.